Oh, crap. Son of a gun. All right, guys. Me and the bear here. All right. So, today, what I want to first do is state two things. One, can believe that immigration does good things for your country. And at the same time, believe that there should be a limit to how much immigration should be allowed. Also, there should be no reason to count immigrants who are not U.S. citizens in the U.S. Census. It is irresponsible and detrimental to America to begin giving people a voice at the choosing table. No other country on earth would count people that are not from there in their census to use towards the representatives. That is foolish. And I will explain how foolish it is in this video. Anybody that is on is more than welcome to chime in. And I'm willing to have an open debate / discussion. I'm willing to try to get you live and on a call even, if anybody is willing to debate this. However, I believe that through the evidence I'm about to show you guys will understand the gravity of this nature and what that does as far as allows for the changing of one's country underneath the feet of the very people who built it without their knowledge of it being done. So, like I said, caveat. One of my favorite YouTubers says that all the time, Washington Gun Law. Shout out. However, we have 433 or 35 House members, okay? Each House member is represented by a specific amount of people and represents a specific amount of people, okay? So, number of people in America who were foreign born the number of people in America who are foreign born are 53.3 million people. I did a little short live about this morning, but that is 15.8% of the U.S. population. Okay, now 747,000 is what each House member represents. That's what they're worth, right? If you were to come up with a value, one would say, right? There were 747,000 people. All right, so 53 million, right? Divide by 747,000. That is 71.35 of our House members come because of foreign-born people. Remember, we have 435. Okay, so hold on, that's not the right one. Here we go. All right, we have 219 Republicans, and 213 Democrats, with 3 vacancies. Okay, 219 to 213. Difference of 6. Right? All right. So, what does 71 extras do? Because that's what they've got right now is 71 extras over what they actually have as far as voter base. Let's take approximately 245 million Americans were eligible to vote in 2024. 245 million, okay, were eligible to vote. We have over 350 million people in this country. Everybody under 18 isn't allowed to vote. $22.16 to 22.4. Okay. $338.02. Okay, so let's get back down here to our calculator. All right, 22 point. Let's do the 4. It's simpler, right? So clear. 22. That's percent. Sorry, guys. I actually have percent sign there, but I'll do it in the other way. I'll do 22.4% of 300. What did it say? 38 million, 338.02, 33802. That's million. Yep. No. So times 4 75,716,480 people. Okay. All right. So let's remove that from 338. I think we're about to see something really funny. So minus 75, 7, 1, 6, 4, 8, 0. 262, 303,000. Total eligible voters is 245. So let's subtract 245 million, right? Minus 2, 4, 5. Huh. Well, that's a significantly different number, isn't it, than this. But they're not allowed to vote. For sure, this number is not allowed to vote. But this number is smaller than this number. That right there tells me that there is 1,300,000 illegal aliens voting in our elections. That just proves it. Right there. Not even, they're registered. And technically, all of these foreign-born, let's see, what percentage of the foreign-born Americans are U.S. citizens? I bet it's a high number. 52%. That sounds reasonable. That we have allowed 52% of the people that have been here, living here for a long time, 25 million of them, become citizens. Well, then this number should really be scary for all of us, shouldn't it? Because 53 million, 52%, 53 million, 300,000, right? Okay. So let's clear that out. 53 million, 300,000. There we go. Minus, or no. Change that to times 0.52. It's 27,716,000 out of the 53 million are citizens. That is awesome. Glad to have you guys here. I hope you guys see where I'm coming from on this. You guys are citizens. You should be counted in the census. Should the other almost 27 million people who aren't here as permanent people be getting extra house members? Because, okay, so clear 53 minus 27,716,000. It's 25,584,000 people. How many House members is that? $34 would, and here's the thing. Does this number, this 53.3 million, does it include the illegals? Because I don't believe that it does. Okay. 3/4 are here legally. Is what it says here. Where was that? As of 2019, before the giant surge. Before the giant surge. So I do not believe that this is including, I believe this is the registered ones. Rightfully, wrongfully, however you want to call it, that's what it is. Whenever you have foreigners in your country, they have a passport, they're registered to be here for this amount of time, la-di-da. That's how it works. It doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what country you go to. All countries do this. We register the people when they come in. Everybody does it. So you know who they are, where they're going, what they're doing. They're a foreigner in your nation. They could be a Trojan horse, right? Anyways. So even under their own numbers, they're saying 3/4 of them are illegal, but that then turns back to, let's do this number again. So that's how many House members, though. We'll go back to that as well. So 39,975. Let's see if that even makes the number. This is what I don't believe that it will. I could be wrong. Yep. It can't be the amount of illegals. It can't be including the illegals. Because this number and the other number are 5 million apart. Well, let's go back to this 34 number, okay? So it's 213 minus 34. It's 179. Now, well, crap. Plus 2, we'll call it 220, 22. Yeah. 222. Because that's the extra seats too. 401. That puts them down to 44% of the Senate. They would still technically have 45%. Still technically have filibuster proof margins there. However, right now, if we get rid of the illegals that are on top of that, let's just go with the extra 5 million. Let's be extra generous. We won't go the whole 18.6. Just the difference of the 5. Okay? So it's another 6.6 plus 34.2. I'm calling that another one. I'm calling that 41 total. So so that would be another 7 removed. So they'd be at 172. I put the wrong dang 172 divided by. It still keeps them above filibuster in that instance, and not by much, and not if they lose the other seats that they're gonna lose from the people that have left, because already I just saw one of these maps the other day, but right now, Florida and Texas are supposed to gain 3 each just from migration. And that's of American citizens. Georgia and North Carolina are projected to add 1 seat. Mountain Western states, Arizona, Idaho, and Utah are all supposed to gain 1 more. So right there, we're talking about plus 11 with just those. California and New York are going to lose. Other states that are losing: Oregon, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Rhode Island. Almost all blue states are going to lose just from the regular migration. That's an 11 plus. Okay? That's technically not changing any. It's the same number, but it's going the other direction. So then our math would change thusly. So we'd take another 11 off of this, basically, most likely. The 11 we'd flip to red because they're going into a predominantly red state. So it'd be 161. Boom. And there we broke the filibuster. And our votes go back to mattering. There, we just broke the filibuster. This is how it's done. This gives us 60%. This is why this matters. Because what they have done is illegally bring in people, and I am being on the generous side when I only use the 5 instead of the 18.6 that I believe is additional. And if I do that, it puts it very close to a realistic, to the 245 million that are supposed to be. Because if we take the numbers that we had, what's that back here? 338 total population back in here. Okay. The 75 million that are children. Okay. Not all of those are non-foreign born. I mean, like, that's just all there is to it. And we haven't even gotten into any kind of racial prejudices that are out there and how people vote. And I'm not saying one way or the other. What I'm getting at is American-born men, white and black, are predominated in going to the right fiscally, and government-wise, not wanting people to be in our business, not wanting the government coming around trying to baby everybody and tell us how we have to live. There is no Americans out here, black, brown, white, who want the government to come tell us how to run our lives. There isn't an American that feels that way. We believe in the freedom to make our choices. We believe in the power we have given to us by God to defend our own homes, to protect our family. God gave us that ability. No man can take it. It was endowed to us by our Creator. So, and I'm sorry, guys, I haven't even checked on the chat or anything. Been going off. It doesn't look like anybody's sent anything in. That's good. There is couple people watching. Thank you guys for watching. But if we did the whole gamut of what I'm talking about, it's not even questionable of whether it flips. And when you flip, just by removing the illegals on the voting, that was 1.3 million. Nationwide, 1.3 million illegals that were for sure on our voting registry. Think about that. That is a lot. How many did Trump lose by in Georgia last election? 30,000? How many did he lose by nationwide? When you guys think about that. In this one, it states, and we were just talking about illegals. We were not also talking about the foreign-born non-citizens that were also on the registry. 1.3 million illegals. Here, in this one, which we know was stolen through the Dominion machine, which is being proven out, proven in court. But this one here, we're talking 7 million, 6 million. I just showed you the amount of total voters. Oh, sorry, guys. Here we're talking about 6 million. Okay, now on the in the 2024. New Hampshire, Harris won by 2.78%. What's the population of New Hampshire? Okay, in that state, she won by 23,000. Utah. Everywhere else went red. Everywhere. Illinois went 3.2% with rigged voting machines, with the Dominion voting machine. We went 3.2%. All this shows the truth of what the actual American people want and believe. And we are united in that. None of us wants our vote to mean nothing. And with over 30 million voters that are not Americans, not born here, not a citizen. Requirement, one of the two. Technically, because if you're born here, guess what? You're a citizen, right? The one fulfills the other. The other one is a prerequisite to be allowed to vote. That's why the SAVE Act is important, and it needs to be passed. Because if we don't pass the SAVE Act, in the 2020 to 2024 election, what changed is two things. There was a lot more election watchers in 2024, and the election watchers that got assaulted in the 2020 election, which there it was cases and cases of that. These are just some of the articles. Every court rejected these claims. And if we can go back to when this actually happened, it keeps bringing up modern stuff. It doesn't. There was several back then. I'll see if I can find it. There are several assaults, several of them on video, that happened during the 2020 election, where people were calling out fraud and stuff and then got assaulted and run out of there. It happened in Georgia. It happened in Ohio. It happened in, I don't want to say any place that's wrong. I know for sure those two places. I remember watching the videos on Gutfeld. Thank you, Greg. Because he brought it up. It brought up how if it had been done the other way, everybody would cover the story. But because it was done the way that it was done, no one did. The Dominion machine is a voting machine This is the Dominion machine defamation lawsuit, okay? Now, here's the thing. This was settled, okay? This was settled after the people that own Dominion bought Fox, okay? Tucker Carlson talked about it. This is part of the reason why he got fired, because he wouldn't stop talking about it. This has been proven true. Maduro met with Joe Biden in 2009 to show him this Dominion voting machine that he helped create, the technology behind it, to rig his elections. Okay, but this is what it states. False statements about their being rigged to steal the 2020 election. It's reporting pure opinion. Okay. Focus allegations made between November 2020 and January 2021. Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell have been sued individually by Dominion in federal court. During pretrial discovery, Fox News internal communications were released indicating prominent hosts and top executives were aware the network was reporting false statements but continuing to do so. Okay. Smartmatic had conspired to rig the election against Trump. Now, in this, they're just talking about the allegations, discovery. The truth of the matter is, whether people want to believe it or not, that was used and has been being used since the 2012 election. Just not in as many states. After allegations arose that Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez, who died in 2013, was involved in rigging voting machines, lawyers for Fox and court filings asked Dominion to turn over any internal communications going back over a decade that include any words of Hugo Chavez, tampered, backdoor, stolen, or Trump. Sign that executives believe that the chances the case is headed to trial have increased. So, before the settlement was reached, and the settlement was reached after Fox was bought out by the powers that be, BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street. You guys want to sponsor a video, reach out. You guys got the money. Instead of buying out American systems to destroy our country, use it to build it. Be pretty nice. Build a defense system for us. I know BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street are the only ones that really got the money to buy the Panama Canal right now. Doesn't mean I really think they're the ones who should be controlling it either. They're also the same ones trying to buy up all the American housing market that Donald Trump just had to stop because they were raising the prices of everything to the point where no one could afford to buy a home. They're doing it for their stock portfolio and so that they could own everything. If each of them only owns 33% of the housing market, none of them are a monopoly. And if each of them owns 33% of each other, then none of them are monopoly. But they all have equal share at the table, which is exactly how BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street operate. They each own 1/3 of each other. Very interesting. Very interesting. There's been a lot of discussion about Pizzagate lately. Coming back up. All the worshiping of Baal and all the evil that's been being done by these elites. Coming out in the Epstein files. I gotta ask you guys a question. Do you believe what God said when he said all things that are done in darkness will be brought to the light? Nothing hidden shall stay secret? Because I do. And I believe no matter how much they try to hide it, no matter what they try to do, this will be exposed. This ancient evil that has been being brought into our country under pagan ideology, bringing forth great change in our country, but not change that you want. Not change that you can hope in. Change that's made everything worse for everyone. Change that has What up, Greg? What up, Greg? I'm on live. You're on with me. Hold on. I gotta find you. Did you hang up on me? Hold on. Might be coming through my dang earpiece. Say again. Well, what we've been covering today is the immigration and the immigration scandal that's been going on is what we've been going on over today. How immigration lessens the power of our vote and the fact that we have had, and we got my buddy Greg Higgs on the line, and the fact that we have allowed over 53 million people into our country and then count them in the census. That is 71 House members. Now, you've got to delve in then once you get into that. Well, if there's 71 extra House members going one way or another, then what should actually be there for the voting power of the people of the nation? Then you have to figure out what that's being done for and to what ends, what's the means. And that's what we've been delving into tonight. And when you get into it and you find out that there's 18.6 million known illegal aliens in this country, that equates to 25, approximately it's a 24.6 something House members that are in the House of Representatives in America because of those people. And when you break down into the voting rolls and you see that there's actually 1.3 million illegal aliens that are actually on the voting rolls, just according to our data, and that's being very generous. That's by excluding all children from being any immigrants' children. That because all the people under 18 are being grouped in as already Americans, pure Americans are all considered in this using the math that I did. I included all the minors as Americans, all 73 million people that are under 18 in America. I included all of them as Americans. Well, if you remove those and then you remove the 53 million people that are foreign born from the total people that are in the country, you still have more people that are on the voter rolls than what is, because we had 245 million people that were eligible to vote or that were registered to vote in the 2024 election. 245 million. And there, 52% of those that are foreign born in America are actually U.S. citizens. So they can be included in the count because they're citizens, right? That makes sense. Right. So when you do that, that puts you at 34 million. I'll have to pull up my calculator real quick because I got it all on here. That was like 30. Where's that number? 30. Is 27,716,000 were citizens, but that was 25,584,000 that were not citizens that were being counted, which made up 34 House members that they were getting seats for. And when you take into account that their numbers of how many people are here illegally according to their numbers, which they said that 75% of all the people that are here foreign born that are counted in that number are illegal. 75%. Well, their other 25% is only 13.325 million. We know that there's 18.6 million illegals. So that's a $5.3 million difference right there. But without not including those, that's 34 seats that are extra that there's nobody to technically vote for those seats, that because those 25 million people don't get to vote. So there shouldn't be a representative representing those 25 million people. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. That don't even make no sense. What other country would allow people that are not from there to do that? That don't make no dang sense at all. It doesn't. There ain't no way you can make it make sense. That is 15% of the amount of people in the House that are there that aren't supposed to be. And that 15%, whenever you remove it, changes the dynamic significantly. It changes what the American people are actually voting for. Whenever I was breaking down all these different elections, like in 2024, Trump lost New Hampshire to Kamala Harris by less than 26,000 votes. Well, I just was telling you, in the early part of this video, I went over it, and there was 1.3 million illegals that were registered to vote. Minimum. They were registered to vote according to how many people were registered to vote in our actual legal ability for voting population. Yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
so that being the case,
How many of those people voted?
right? And if they're voting illegally once, how do we know they didn't vote illegally twice or three times? Because there was buses seen all over the place taking people to different wards to vote. The people we're talking about, like now maybe that was just people going around picking up elderly, but were the elderly that they were picking up American citizens,
Mm-hmm.
or were those elderly that they were picking up foreigners? Why are our ballots put out in over 27 languages? But to become a citizen, you're required to learn English.
Now that's inquiry minds would like to know.
Inquiring minds would like to know, Greg. Because that's a very interesting question, is why our ballots are put out in so many different languages when you're required to know English to become a citizen. It's like very confusing. It's like almost like you guys are trying to cheat. There's people that are trying to cheat, and it's just blatant at this point. You know, I
If a person needs to learn English, but they understand better in their own language, I can see only from that point of view.
Yeah, of course you're going to understand better in your own language. But if you don't understand enough of the English, should you be voting on who's in power? If you don't understand what this person's saying, should you actually be applying your vote? If you don't know what's going on, should you be choosing?
If you know one thing that means a lot to you,
Yeah, I'm not saying don't vote. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying nobody should not vote. What I'm saying is the people should be able to, because they could pull it from online and have it auto transcribed into whatever language they know. If they want to know the policies and what's actually going on, they would know who they wanted when they went there, and their broken English would be enough to get them through the thing, is what I'm getting at. If you're a responsible voter, if you're somebody who is actually caring about the policies that's going into effect, that's going to affect you and your family. Because those policies do. This $8 billion that Pritzker just pulled out of our butts, our proverbial rear ends for power, that comes out of each and every one of Illinoisans' pockets. It's $125 extra a month going to power for no reason. But because J.B. Pritzker deemed that everybody needed to pay an extra $8 billion this year.
yeah, and state government is very, very important.
Yes, without our state government,
but local government shapes state government.
we need both. We need people that are willing to actually do public service. We don't have people that are actually out there trying to serve the people that are in positions of power anymore. We put people in positions of power that are there to serve themselves. And
Yeah.
if the people were there to serve the people, none of this nonsense would be going on. Why would anybody burden their people with a higher bill? Why would anybody do that? Why would anybody burden their people with a higher bill for no reason? You're not.
Because of self-interest.
Yes, that's exactly it. The billions of dollars that went into Pritzker's pocket during the COVID scandal because his family owns 3M. And he mandated all of us wear masks and then silenced anybody that opposed him about it. And yeah.
It's like ADM. And last night it had a city council. The city council voted on pumping CO2 underneath the Lake of Decatur. And CO2 underneath the neighborhoods of poor people. And they voted on that yesterday, and they agreed for that to take place.
Yes.
Even though there was a packed house of observation, objecting to that situation.
Well, because we've already had one of their wells leak. It's already failed once.
Yes, and now this is an experimental project.
Oh, yes. It's the carbon dioxide retainment system where they pump carbon dioxide down thousands of feet underground. Yes. It is not. I think that is a very dumb idea. You know what you don't do generally to, like, all right, how do these places that come and level your concrete in your garage do it? If anybody knows, put it in the chat. They go in there and then they chip away an area and they insert a little air bladder and they pump it up and then they backfill that area with either an epoxy or another type of concrete and let it set up. And then they remove their bladder and fill in the rest of that area. Now, if you're able to do that on a small scale with just a little bit, what do you think if you're doing that on a large scale directly on top of a fault line, the New Madrid fault line here in Illinois, which Decatur sits right on top of? We just had a 4.0 magnitude earthquake for the first time in a long time. That's interesting, because what do you think putting all that pressure down there? Because when they're pumping that CO2 down there, they have to pump it under pressure. So what do you think that
yes,
that is doing? I think it's popping it. I think you're going to end up causing an earthquake.
Absolutely. And not only the leaks causing damage and health conditions
Yep.
for people as well as young people, developing lungs of young people.
Oh, yeah.
Now they complain about children not being produced in Decatur or Central Illinois, but now they're being produced in a toxic environment.
Yeah. And it's bad for everybody. This is not this isn't something that is a bipolarized issue. It should not be.
It's not.
This is a American people versus corporate greed issue.
Correct. So they got up there and spoke about that last night, and you had a few city council people who decided to vote against it, or to be able to table it to do more investigation at a later date. And they chose to vote on it and give the okay last night.
Well, it's a post-dated okay anyways.
And not only...
Do you know why they voted on that?
Why?
All right, so this last summer, I ran into guys working out there, and they were having a leak from one of their wells. Now, I would bet my bottom dollar that part of where that leak occurred was underneath Lake Decatur. And I would bet you money that they need this to go through so that it does not get them in as big of trouble, because they're already paying out the ass over that leak. And that's probably why City of Decatur is super cool with it on the other hand because they had to pay substantial amount, 500,000 a day or something. It's a substantial amount. I'm sure the city of Decatur is getting a portion of that.
Now, Decatur agreed on something that is mind-boggling. They agreed on to pay Decatur, Illinois, check this out, a 99-year contract for $1,000 a year.
For carbon sequestration okay, so
Because for 100 years, you're going to get $1 million.
wow.
Wow.
So
Wow. Say it again. Wow.
they are
They sold out the citizens of Decatur, Illinois for $1 million. And not only this, they said they're going to pump the gas not only underneath the Lake Decatur, but also in the poor economic neighborhoods underground.
well, you don't want it going into your neighborhood, do you? I mean, geez.
Yes. So you had all these so-called in touch but out of touch individuals who come back from all these Leave It to Beaver days, making decisions for the future of Decatur, Illinois.
Yes, for 2 lifetimes.
Yes. For
2
lifetimes.
working lifetimes.
Yes.
You know, people talk about a lifetime, but it's your working lifetime because you are no longer considered a valuable asset in society, generally speaking, after your working years. And, you know, you no longer get as much say, it seems, except if you're in politics, and then you get to tell the people that are 18 what they're going to do for their next whole life, what's going to happen for their whole life. The handful of politicians, corrupt suckers who get up there, you know, I just seeing how much money they spend on the parties should be enough for us to get an audit from the federal government. But yeah, it doesn't seem to happen. I honestly don't know why anybody in Illinois would trust our government with the way that they have mishandled our money. They legalized weed, now it's supposed to pay for schools and stuff, right? They raise the gas prices because they keep raising the gas prices because it's supposed to fix the roads. Then they take all that money because they spend all the money on people that they brought in to replace us, right? They spend all of our money on people that they brought in to replace us. And then they take our money for the roads and they take it up to pay up other bills. It's like, how is this right? Because no Americans are getting this money. You're just taking our money and all the money that we're putting into you, and you're giving it away to people to replace us because because they cannot get us to do what they want.
Yes.
Yeah. But the poor people from other countries who don't understand what's happening and are being brought in here and used as pawns in a giant elite game, they're the actual victim of this because they're being used as a pawn in a game by these elites to usurp American authority and to screw themselves. Yeah, is it a better life probably than what they were having where they were at? Probably. However, is it screwing them long term and their children? Because now their children can't get to a free America. Baby, the webcam's on. What's up?
Yeah. And, you know, the pity back off that situation, it's like the elites said that the gas that's been pumped underneath the Lake Decatur and the poor neighborhoods will create 300 jobs in 3 years, and after the third year, it's going to increase. It's going to create 30 jobs.
Oh,
Did you hear me?
30 permanent jobs.
Yes.
So it's going to make 300 temporary jobs and 30 permanent jobs. And that's worth risking setting off one of the most... The last time the New Madrid had an earthquake was like pre-America, but it was supposedly over an 8.0. So a massive one. And you're going to pump... Oh, I mean, you're at a fault line. It's probably a great spot to do it. Yeah, I mean, you probably got ease of access drilling down. You know, I mean, like scientifically, it's probably a pretty good access point. Also, scientifically, though, you're pumping shit into the ground. Pardon my language. You're pumping stuff into the ground that is creating pressure in a already active seismic area. If an 8.0 earthquake went off in Decatur, how many people do you think would die?
Lots.
Yeah, because do you think ADM would blow up? Do you think Fuyao would, you think several of the plants around would have a gas explosion because such active activity? Yeah, I mean, like, that would, we have a giant pipeline by us.
Yes, sir.
You know, that could cause significant national damage. That could be a national security threat, technically.
Absolutely.
Because it is experimental. And they're only doing this carbon sequestration because of green policies. The only reason why the carbon sequestration is needed is so that they can meet EPA emission standards. That instead of just burning the coal and allowing, we clean the coal, you clean the coal in the same thing in giant filter houses. Okay? There's no reason to be going beyond that, like what they're doing. What they're doing is, it's insane. It's an insane idea of playing God. It's like cloud seeding. It's like this weather alteration idea. Oh, instead of us just letting carbon dioxide, which is a natural, that's what people breathe. It's what plants eat. It's literally what trees grow off of. If you look at videos of plants, like in a time lapse and different environments, the higher the carbon dioxide, the better the plant grows. Like pretty much no matter the level. It just grows faster. So what's the issue with putting off carbon dioxide in a plant? Except that it's making plants grow faster. You see what I'm saying? When you put it off into the atmosphere, it's absorbed by the trees. But when you're putting it into the ground, you're doing something crazy.
Yes.
This is insane. And it's only being done because these crazy EPA regulations that restrict businesses to the point where you spend billions of dollars trying to comply instead of being able to pay your workers more. I mean, like, the filters at the place that I work at are all $1,000 a piece for the filter houses. And we have 2,000 and 2,500 filters, approximately. Okay? And you have to replace those. Those are not a reusable item. You know what I mean? Those are a usable item. It's like a pair of gloves. You can only use a pair of gloves so long before you need another pair of gloves.
Correct.
And sometimes things happen and you have pressure spikes and those break also. Things like that. There's all kinds of things that can happen. But like I just said, those are $1,000 a filter. 2,500 of them. It's $2.5 million. That's not the install. That's not the removal. That's just to be able to comply.
Yes. No.
Yes, and that's not including the particulate that we have to pay.
Yes.
To put on there and then pay to have it shipped off.
Correcto.
So
you not only talking about just that. You talking about, do you know how much water
yes
it takes
yes
for this plant to run?
Yes.
And how much is going to deplete
yes
the water, which we already have a water charge?
Yep.
And you know what the city council said? They have no freaking idea, bro.
They don't care about what that is because the money that is there is insane money. We are talking about, Howard Buffett and, allegedly, that kind of money.
You're talking about Google, and you're also talking about these data.
Yes. Yes. Now, those data centers, I think that those data centers should be built somewhere in the cold because of multiple reasons, but mainly because of how much heat that they put off. And also, if you were to build them all together, in, let's say, Alaska or Greenland. But you get what I'm saying? Somewhere that is already cold. You don't have to pay to heat them because they put off enough heat that it will heat the building itself. You'll be using its heat. You'll be using outside coolness to keep it cool. It's reasonable. Those don't have a lot of people in those areas. And you could do that without harming anybody and still be able to build those. Fly the guys in. You're a multi-billion-dollar company. Fly the guys into the area. Have them build it for 3 years. Pardon my French. Then you've got your place built. It's going to basically run by itself. Hire some permanent people, the people that you need to run it. Pay them great money. They'll run it. Yeah, I mean, they have the money, they have the ability, but they don't want to do all that. They're wanting to be lazy and cheap. But if they would quit buying back all their stocks, they would have a lot more money. But they buy back their stocks so they don't have to pay taxes on it.
Absolutely. Now, not only that, you have a tax issue. So now property taxes, who is going to front this tax bill that this company is going to have for coming here?
Yeah.
Who?
Nobody
So
fills
you
those.
looking out for the community?
Nobody fills those shoes. If that place leaves, there's nobody that could come in here.
They're going to leave a desert along the way.
Yes.
They're going to say, hey, you know what you got into. You the agreed to this contract.
Yes, we told you the risks that were involved.
We told you the risk that is involved with doing business with us. It's just like the snake. It's like the snake going across the lake, and it's saying, "I'm not gonna bite you though." He said, "I'm your friend."
Yeah. When he rode on the fox or whatever,
He rode on the fox across the water.
they ate him.
As soon as he got across the water and got him up on land, he reached back and he said, "Bro, I thought you was my friend."
Yep.
But he says, "You know what? It's just in my nature to do what I did."
Facts.
And it's in the nature of this company. And I was very upset. I was very upset because we didn't have a big enough voice to shape the elections and be concerned enough about the elections that affects us each and every day.
Oh, that just happened.
Voted for this.
Those people.
Those people got condos and they got a second homes in Florida.
Yeah. And we need people to run against them here. We need people that are willing to run against these people and run these people out of office. You know, I don't think that's far-fetched either. I don't think these people have any of the actual vote. I think if anybody actually went out here and door knocked with a purpose, yeah, I mean, actually intentionally went out and spent their time when they were not working to go out and try to get elected, I think there's enough people out here that are tired of what has been going on and are ready for an active, actual change that they would get out and vote people out of office. I really do. I think this craziness that's been going on here in Illinois for so long, we've just let them run wild with everything they want to do. You know, they tax the weed at 50%. They tax gas. There's 4 or 5 taxes on every gas purchase. I thought there was you weren't allowed to double tax me. They raise everybody's property tax every year. 4 times in the last 5 years, they've raised our electric bills. Like, what is going on? You guys are not doing anything for us. The city of Decatur just upped the gas tax 5 cents on diesel. What do you think that does to truckers? You got a 100-gallon tank, 200-gallon tank. 5 cents. That's $10. That's an extra $10 out of that guy's pocket. What's going on, Ronna? Good to see you on tonight. I got my buddy Greg on the phone. He called in. Yeah, we have kind of meandered off that topic and gotten onto a local political issue where here in Decatur we have people that are allowing the carbon sequestration underneath the low-income community of Decatur, Illinois, and under the Lake of Decatur against the community's will without even a delay. We have people that are showing up and speaking out, and nothing's being done. And we got off onto the topic of the political elite and how they are scamming us. And this all ties back in to the main point of this, because the reason why they brought them in is because they would listen. because they are already in a bad way. They're not able to not listen, right? If I've got you by the short and curlies, and if you do something wrong, I can throw you out, then it's hard for you to not back whatever I want. You know, it's like having blackmail on somebody, right? You got blackmail on them, and then you can make them do whatever you want. And they're going to be smiling in public and talking about how great of a person you are, while at the same time, you're
Yes, and you have certain people with certain mindset that on their way out
yeah,
and trying to make a difference in a bad way. Because anytime you make a decision without the proper information when you make that decision, you're going to make a bad deal.
yeah. Well, and they're having the people sign it without it. They're not even getting this choice. Yeah.
They even shut down the Decatur webpage for the city, and it said there was no objections to this plant coming in to Decatur. They made sure that it did work. They made sure that they manipulated, they lied, they schemed,
Makeup County.
and they did what it is. But we talking about we elected the mayor, we elected the city council, and they old fogies.
Yes. They sold the
So-
people out.
They sold the people out, man.
Yes. Yeah. And it's a sad state of affairs that we've gotten ourselves into in this state. And we have to march our way through it. We can't allow them to run us out. We have to get the people on board and get them to hear. You know, if this was able to get seen on the news in Chicago, I guarantee there'd be able to be a protest down here over it.
And you know that our water supply also supplied Springfield as well?
Oh, yeah. The Muhammad Aquifer that's underneath us,
Yes.
it's one of the largest water supplies in the world. And one of the
Yes.
cleanest.
Do you know that it takes 350 million gallons of water a day?
But the carbon sequestration,
Yes.
that sounds about right. We're talking about the people that are doing this ADM. They have all the power. I mean, like, they made a movie, The Informant, where Matt Damon came to Decatur to play a role about a guy who snitched on one of their original executives. Now, I'm not saying that he shouldn't have, or whatever. That's what the movie was about. It's about him getting caught, like, doing cocaine or something, and then snitching on the snitching on the big dog, you know.
So if you going to poison the whole community, multiple locations,
They process 40% of the world's food, bro. They literally process, and that's just them. That's not including their two sister competing companies that are owned by them. Those are owned by their parent companies, Staley's and Tate and Lyle. Allegedly. Allegedly, those are owned by their parent companies through a subsidiary, caveat, whatever. You know what I'm saying? They technically, if they were all included, quoted, it's something like 65% of the world's food is processed here in Decatur, Illinois. And that's for the animals, the livestock, as well as people's food. Almost every chemical that they make goes in everything that we eat and drink worldwide. They make everything. From dog food, cattle feed. Technically, they don't actually make the dog food. They just make a bunch of the ingredients. But also people food. Like xanthan gum. It's one of the products that they make. It's in just about everything. If you look on the back of it, xanthan gum's probably in it. And they do a bunch of corn syrup. That's one of the other things that they make. But they are a very, very powerful company. Like, that is a very powerful company. If you can control the world's food, back in the 80s, when Gorbachev visited America, he came to Decatur, Illinois. And Reagan met Gorbachev here at ADM. That is real. Like, that happened.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, that's how powerful that company is. That in the 80s, the Russians, during a famine, came to speak to them. The president of Russia came to speak here in this town. But that is, you know, telling the tale, basically. You know, that with that kind of power, it is practically impossible for us, I mean, to get anything done without finding some philanthropist that is willing to take on a giant. You know, I mean, some lawyer that would just be their day. Any lawyer watching?
Yes. And speaking of lawyers, the city of Decatur was unwilling to have an independent lawyer look over the contract in which they enter into.
Man, I wish you had told me that was going on last night. I would have gone up there with you.
Yes. I don't know why I didn't call you. Most definitely.
I don't know. We've got to start going to these. We'll have to start doing some kind of a video on them or something, because this.
Yes, we need to do some video. I got the video recording person. We need to go there, man. We need to get interviews. People did not even want to speak. Some people didn't want to speak publicly on the record about this situation. You see, and I have another problem with that issue, too. I have a problem with people who sitting back in the shadows, letting you pee on your leg, and you saying it's rain.
Yep. Well, if you believe that this morning I was doing John 10. In the Bible study this morning, we were doing John 10, and in it Jesus says that He is the good shepherd, and thus He lays down His life for His sheep. And I got off into a bit of a tangent about, if you are in leadership, your people are your sheep, and you are supposed to lead how Christ led. It states that all throughout. And that's what people need to be understanding, that is the type of leader people follow. People don't follow these fake. It is impossible to want to sit in a foxhole with somebody that you wouldn't trust to close your eyes to go to sleep with. you know, and that is life. You know, the people that we have leading us are of such low moral character, my opinion. Uh, Definitely on the state level, uh, that there there should be treason cases going on. People should be being investigated over this.
You see,
This is
but they're
what.
not. They're not because it's fair game for the board. It's fair game. It's fair game now. Everybody already feel it's fair game regardless. Whatever you do, it's fair game. Now, who created that atmosphere? Who created that type of environment?
You know,
It's fair game.
I don't believe that if the people stood up against this publicly and could get news attention, I do not believe that the city could quiet it. I think that the people down here that have family that is in, like, Chicago should speak to them, because Chicago has big news organizations, and those are national news organizations. That's where our national news comes from, is up in Chicago. You know what I mean? That's where, like, the Fox headquarters and CNN and all of them are. 'Cause they have one in all the big cities. And if one of them picked up the story of what was going on, it would get stopped.
You see, the only reason, the reason why they will pick it up, if somebody was on the ground, and that's what I hope for us to do.
That'd be
To
nice.
be able to cause so much ruckus that we'll be able to hear, even if you in the back room 3 doors down,
Yep.
you would know that some ruckus is being created.
Yes. There has to be. You cannot do this. The people are how you make your products. You don't. The people are how everything is made. If you get rid of the people, well, I guess that's what the data centers are for, right?
Yes.
They've got to mine all of our data.
Yes. That is that is what's being stuffed down our throat, through our ears, and up your backside.
Yep. Yeah. I definitely look forward to getting together with you on that. We will
Yes.
have to make plans. I I think that the only likely option for that would be like a petition.
Absolutely.
Uh, we should get one started on, like, get what is that? Move on or something like that. .org. I think that's where my other one is on for
Yeah.
we should definitely get one started and pass it around. Because
Absolutely. And because, first of all, issues like this that concerning and affecting all of us,
yeah,
it's not put in a way that it can hit everyday home individuals.
yeah,
see,
it's not being brought to the limelight.
It's not being brought in that light.
Yep.
You see, because you can get over technical and do everything like that, and then a person say, man, I really don't understand how that affects me.
Yeah.
But it does affect you when it affects you when your kid go out there and play football. It affects you when your kid is playing baseball. It affects you when your kid is doing golf. It affects you when you're going out there just taking a stroll in the park. It's affecting you. It's affecting you in a way that you don't even know that it's affecting you.
Well, I mean,
And now you understand that you're going up with these chronic issues.
yeah, I think that's exactly what I was going to say. I think we could point probably to likely evidence of elevated risks associated with people who live around the area. I think within now we have years of evidence of what has already been done, and I mean that's probably why they dug the whole Lake Decatur out so they could stack more water on top of it. That's probably exactly why they did that, because they just trenched it out another like 10 feet deeper.
Yes.
That's probably what that was all for. They might have even been laying the groundwork for it while they're out there.
Yes. They automatically knew. And so they blame it on the people from the city council. Said, oh, Decatur has not sometimes missed out on an opportunity. You know what? I don't know no one, or I don't think you know no one who hit 100% every time they swung.
No, and we've already had a leak. That was public record. That's not known out there. It took them, I want to say like 20 some days or something to fix it. It may still technically be slightly going on. It was not a little thing. Like it was, and now you're going to do 2 more sites. Well, that if your first site didn't, if you weren't able to do it at your first site for 20 years, let's say, with no issue, with nothing, why would your second and third site? And I'm not saying it shouldn't be done if that is what we deem we have to do to follow the EPA guidelines.
Hold on for a minute.
Yeah, I'm on the live still, brother. So there, I don't see how you should do it around communities. ADM owns thousands of acres, and instead of farming on some of them that aren't near a city, they could do that there, or they could. How is it that it's okay to do it underneath the lake, but it's not okay to do in a field that you own? It seems like there's reasonable way to handle this that is not going to be pumping it underneath civilians. And if you were going to do it,
Yeah.
I am opposed.
Hello?
Yeah, I am opposed to doing it altogether due to the fact that I believe that it is increasing the risk and potential for some kind of seismic activity to happen in this area.
Yeah. And do you know how many people, how many votes that it took to win over the mayor position?
No, I don't. That's a good question.
Now,
Do you know off the top of your head or?
No, but I do know this: 500 additional votes either way, even city council people would have been able to change the outcome.
I'm pulling it up right now. Really?
See, this is how ineffective banners and all that stuff will work. Unless we do a grassroots
Oh wow.
movement. You see that?
254 votes, 351 votes. Newark, and that's not the difference. The difference is like 100 votes.
Come on now. Now, 500. That lets you know that I'm speaking of why it's so important for us to do a grassroots movement. And those individuals who we didn't choose, who we didn't participate in, who we did not vouch for, has made a decision that's going to affect me, my cousins, my visitors that come and visit me, everything that you're doing. You are totally affected.
Yeah, it's just throughout the different zip code. I mean, each.
Hold on for a minute.
Yeah, each it's, as it's seen right here, the different zip codes. It shows this is the votes that were cast in each of the districts. And it's not a lot in each district. It's literally not a lot in each district. Yeah, I think we've about let's see when you get back, Ronald. I think that's about there though. I don't know, guys, where we take this from here. What the next step is exactly. I definitely will be continuing to. I believe that we have to fight for our communities. We have to stand for what is right and just. I believe we must work for what God wills, and as long as we continue doing that, I don't think that there is. I don't believe there is anything that can be said ill, and any that is meaningless is of the world. I think that people need to remember we are not of this world. We are in it, but not of it. While we're in it, we have to try to control our tempers about some of the evil that is being done. Because just because evil is being done does not mean that you can go and solve that evil. So we continue to pray, try to stay in God's word, and I'm going to hop off here and I'm going to come back on. I'm going to be doing a Bible study. Revelations
Yep.
19. And we will continue on what we've been reading, guys. And thank you for the views. Thank you guys for sticking with me. And hopefully we can get together. Any of you that are in the Decatur community, we can get together and it will be 7:30 at the latest. I'm probably 7:15. All I got to do is change the title and stuff and make a different stream. So I'll be right back on the live.
And I just want to thank all of y'all for participating and